people on the recording. Great to see you. You haven't missed too much. Don't worry. Do the breathing on your own. We're talking about what you'd make for dinner. So what would you make? What would what if like I said, if I showed up with 5 people, who didn't have any dietary restrictions, as unlikely as that seems these days, what might you make? Maybe something with beans and rice, maybe some pasta dish, something, something like I said, with what you've got in the pantry. Beth says cashew chili. That sounds delicious. What else? What else might you make? What did I make out of we made fish sticks and baked potatoes the other night because we were really down to nothing in the things, but it was delicious. An all white and brown dinner. It was yummy. Pasta, says Julie. Yeah, exactly. Shirley says breakfast for dinner. That's always good. We used to have buckwheat pancakes a lot for dinner. That was sort of my mother's when we were out of everything dinner. Lasagna, yum. Okay, good. So on the other hand, if you had a month to plan and unlimited kitchen helpers and unlimited amounts of food, what might you make then? Oh, Julie says, I just went to the store. Red lentil soup with sweet potatoes. Yum. Maybe a little sausage, garam masala, ginger, rum, and coconut cream. Julie, we're coming to your house. We're coming to your house for dinner. That sounds delicious. Had to stretch a couple of eggs yesterday to made a frittata. Yeah, exactly. So if you had infinite choices, infinite things you could make, and all the help you needed to make it, so you didn't actually have to stand there and do all the chopping yourself. What would be delicious? What would be delightful? What would be sort of amazing to make? What have you always sort of wanted to make? Thanksgiving. Yep. You can do a whole Thanksgiving dinner. That's delicious. Seafood salad to start. I love that. If I had the money, lobster and crab clam bake. I'm at your house, Enjo, because I'll do anything for seafood and shellfish, especially. Yeah. So if you start thinking of it from the sense of an infinite possibilities, if I had all the money and all the help and all the time in the world to make anything I wanted, well, we start to get some very different kind of options, right? And what I want to point out to you is that you already do have all the options, right? You can already get almost anything delivered overnight, right? The grocery stores now have just an endless array of things. Even in my small town, our little grocery store has everything because it's not little, it's big. I remember taking a friend of mine who lived in Mexico her whole life. She was visiting Los Angeles and we went to the Whole Foods and she was like, what is this enchanted place? I'm like, I know. Like, it's like a temple of food, right? All these perfect pyramids of apples and all these gorgeous everythings. The abundance is everywhere. And you do have access to help and you do have access to money, way more than you let yourself think you do. And I can almost hear you all going like, okay, Sam, I'm with you on the infinite amount of food. Like, I get that I could order pretty much anything and have it delivered and have it here. And, and if we skip, in the email, I was talking about infinite amount of money, or infinite amount of food, infinite amount of money, infinite amount of love. And I can see you like trying to skip over to the love part and be like, yeah, I get it that there's an infinite amount of love, that all the love in the world is always present. There is no lack of love. Love doesn't disappear like energy. It just changes form, right? So, we're used to thinking of love coming from other people. And when that person goes away, we feel that love went away, but it's not true. Love comes through other people. Love comes through other people. So when that person goes away, the love is still there. It's just, they're not there. Like me talking to my ex-husband, the love is still there and it still comes through him, although in a different way than when we were dating and married. So, and I know all of you are so spiritually evolved, like that's a pretty easy flip for you to make. Some people might take we might have to do some more exercises around it. But I know you guys can lean back onto that net of love. You can feel infinite web of love that supports you, the love you have for all the people and things and animals and all the living things and all the rocks and stones. You have that love all going out from you, and it comes back to you, and it makes this infinite net, and we're all part of the net of energy and love. And oh, I get chills just thinking about it. And I can feel you relaxing into that idea, because I can feel myself relaxing into that idea. Like, oh yeah, that's right. I have always been infinitely loved for exactly who I am, and I always will be. And there's no lack or absence anywhere. And even my friends who have died, I can still feel the love coming through them. You know, even my ancestors that I never met, I can still feel the love coming through them. So I can sense that you're sort of with me on the infinite food thing, and you're with me on the, and this is obviously a very first class issue, this infinite amount of food, because obviously there's lots of places in the world where there's not an infinite amount of food, and even places in the US, and even places in the town nearby you where there's kind of a food desert. So I am speaking about this from a place of extreme privilege. But again, even to those places, we could collectively order seafood salad for everybody, you know, in the poorest neighborhood near us. That could happen, right? So if we open up our thinking like that and we say, okay, there's an infinite amount of food, because we know this, right? World hunger is not about a lack of food. It's about people withholding food in order to maintain power, right? Oh my God, Julie's writing some total 100% food porn on here. Oh my God, that's fantastic. Let's see. Lori says, what about finding the interesting people to talk with and share ideas? This is one place for sure. Yes, exactly. So if you think of I have a hole in my sweater. Look at that. It's like somebody's got some mending to do. So now let's bring the same abundant thought to money, because we tend to think of the money that we normally spend on things, and we feel like that's the money we have, right? We tend to look at the money that comes in every month from wherever it's coming in from, and we feel like that's all the money there is. I don't have more money than that. I can't afford to do anything more than that. And as I've been talking to people about joining the teeny tiny mastermind or working with me privately, you know, we're talking about a fairly significant investment. And I'll tell you the big secret about this. The reason the investment is significant is not because I get off on charging people large sums of money. I don't. I kind of wish I did sometimes. No, what happens is, I really figured this out a couple of years ago. I offered sort of a spiritual development group, and I didn't advertise it. I didn't send out emails about it. There wasn't an application form. It was just me making phone calls to people that I thought might be interested. And we were meeting twice a month, same like the mastermind, and it was $10,000 for 6 months. And with the current, the one I'm feeling right now, it's sort of a project-based thing. You're going to come in with an idea or with a project, and we might refine it some, but you know, the idea is that you would be working on something in theory that might bring you back that investment, and maybe even 3 to 10 times that investment. That's always my aim. But this was a spiritual thing, so there wasn't really any deliverables. There wasn't really any aim. There was just the doing of it. And so I talked to a bunch of people, and they were all like, yeah, you know, you're great, and I'm sure it would be great, and seems a little spendy. And I'm like, yeah, I know. I said, but here's the thing. If I charge you any less than $10,000, at some point, right around month 3, your attention would start to wander. You would start to be like, oh, I'm a little tired. Pardon me. Or, oh, I'm traveling today. Or, oh, you know, I don't think I can make it. But if I charge you $10,000, you are going to be there every session, pens clicked, with a bring it Bennett look in your eye. Like, I'm here. I want what you got. And that's the kind of energy I wanted. And I wanted you to know that everybody else in the circle was also committed at that level. So we gathered the group together. It was really fun and deepening and interesting. And then as we started to get to the end of the 6 months, around month 3.5 or 4, I said, hey, this has been great. Do you guys think you might want to keep going for another 6-month session? And they all went, yes. And I said, but it's a little spendy. And they're like, yeah, it's a little spendy. I'm like, right. Well, now I only have to charge you $5 because you already know each other. You understand the value. You're going to show up anyway, right? I needed that big commitment from you up top so that you would stay and stick it out and not get discouraged and not fall back into your old patterns, but instead feel like I've paid a ton of money for this. This better be it. And with a different group of people, I might have had to charge $100,000. With a different group of people, I might have been able to just charge $100. I don't know. But for some reason, what I know about my audience is that $10,000 number is like it in terms of making people commit and actually change, because the commitment needs to be strong enough to weather the vicissitudes of mood and of your patterned, habituated beliefs that there's not enough, right? Some of you may have heard the story about the first time I invested in a super high-end program. It was more like $20,000, $23,000, something like that. And then there was going to be another at least $10,000 worth of travel on top of it. And I didn't have it. I did not have the money. I did not have a plan to get the money. I didn't have a business big enough to sustain that. But I said yes anyway. I said yes anyway because I knew that that was where my business was going. I knew I needed to be in a room with people who were investing in themselves at that level. And honestly, putting that big of a bet on me changed me. I had never invested in myself at that level. It's like trying on a really expensive outfit. And instead of being like, oh, it's too nice, I don't know, where would I even wear it? I don't know. But putting on a really expensive outfit and saying, yeah, this is me. This is me now. This is me moving forward. I'll wear this to the coffee shop because this is the future I'm building for myself. So sometimes I think they could have just charged me the $23,000 and left me alone because I was so thunderstruck by that action. Like my inner self was like, shit, she is serious. Damn. So I invite you into this idea of abundance and out of this pattern, like, no, I don't spend money on this, or, oh, I don't spend money on that, or, oh, I don't have enough for this, or I don't have enough for that, because chances are you have it, or you can get it, or committing it will prompt you to make it. That's what happened to me. I was like, okay, I gotta make this money before the American Express bill comes. And somehow I did. So if you are interested at all in applying to work with me, I'm wrapping this up like this week. So I'm having, doing little talks with people. And there's no obligation to apply. You're welcome to just apply and see what happens. Apply to work with me. And there's the form. And it's just a little Google form that, ask some questions about where you're at and what you want. But going back to this idea of infinite, right? This idea of infinite. Leslie's saying, mending, somehow comforting on this blustery, gray, stormy day. Mending. Yeah, it's a little blustery and gray here in Connecticut too. June says 30% of food produced in the US is wasted or thrown away. There's no shortage of food, just a shortage of imagination and intention. Yeah. Julie says it's just not being put into practice, or people don't realize that they can. Yeah. So what would be possible for you? What might you choose to do if you settled into this awareness that you were infinitely loved, that you had infinite resources and infinite money? Just play the game. Might you plan a trip? Might you come to Crete with me and Amy in October? Some of you are, I know, I can see you. Might you apply to work with me? Might you, do something extravagant for a friend? Might you buy something expensive at the grocery store? Might you host a dinner party? Might you write a letter to everyone you've ever loved? Might you Find the time to work on your art, your book, your stories, your house, yourself. Because you are always at a place of infinite choice. You are always at a place of infinite choice, and every moment is an opportunity to make new choices, to do things even just a little bit differently. I'm not saying you got to throw your whole life in the air like a game of 52 card pickup. You just make a little shift. What happens if you make $100 shift, or $1,000 shift, or a $10,000 shift, or a $100,000 shift? Where does that take you in your mind? Can you feel your mind stretching like an eagle? Like, oh, that feels good. Like, yes, let's do infinite. That's better. That is the nature of things. This little cooking with what's in the pantry. And again, not that what's in the pantry, not that you can't make a delicious dinner out of what's in the pantry. I know you can, because you do. But when you're working with what's in the pantry, you tend to only see what's in the pantry. You don't think of only what's possible in the pantry and only what you think is possible in the pantry. If I came to your pantry, I might be able to make something completely different because of the way I cook. So I'm curious. I'm curious what might be possible for you. Lucy says, renovate my townhouse and a really nice vacay. Yes. Travel, says Julie. Yes. There's a couple Julies, by the way, in case you're getting confused by all the Julies. Yes. Travel. Well, go ahead and put it in your book. Research the prices. I mean, and find the money. You can do it. It's there. It's right in front of you. If you have need of it, it is right in front of you. The other Julie says, the first thing I do is relax. My nervous system relaxes. I latch onto the word play. I might do all those things, but home in my beloved Point Roberts, set up my studio, buy the biggest box of watercolor crayons they make, illustrate the Mother's Prayer in honor of my mother who's now in hospice, sending love. And now my small shift could be to buy a watercolor sketchbook and a 32 watercolor crayon set and illustrate the book now so she can see it while she's still here and publish it by Mother's Day in her honor. Kaboom, Julie, that is the way that is done. Yes, take the giant picture, and then if it feels too overwhelming, like make it scalable, right? And Joe says, I would hire someone to help me like Veronica helps you. Yes, you can do that. You can do that. You can hire somebody. There's all kinds of VA services that work very inexpensively. And again, what we're really looking for is return on investment, right? It doesn't matter how much something costs. What matters is how much will you get back out of it, right? So, yeah, the outfit cost $1,000, but I felt so confident when I went to the event wearing that $1,000 outfit that I met somebody and presented myself in such a way that they invited me to do a $15,000 keynote. That's a good return on investment, right? And sometimes the return on investment is more intangible. I'm thinking about Babette's Feast, right? We've talked about Isaac Dinesen, the writer, here on this on these lives before. She's one of my favorites. And her story of Babette's Feast, of someone just making this incredibly elaborate dinner for people who don't have any understanding of what it is they're eating, or what she's done or why she's done it. It's really moving. An artist is never poor. That is so true. Yes. Julie says, I'm in Salem now, but my friends and community in Point Roberts are holding me, sending pics and telling me they'll be waiting in open arms in return. Yes, of course. Community is a beautiful thing. So just for an exercise, this is what I'm doing with some of the people who've applied to work with me who are like, I really want to do it. And I really don't have the money. Which again, I understand, because you're looking in the pantry, you're looking at what you always looked at, and it feels like there's no money there. But what I would invite you to do, and maybe we could even do this right now, is write out a list of, first of all, decide what the dollar amount is, right? So how much would it cost to renovate the townhouse and take a really nice vacation? How much would it cost to travel? How much would it cost to hire somebody to help you? How much is the biggest watercolor thing they sell? Write that number down and even double it just so you have extra, or add a bit on just in case there's overages, which there usually is. And then write out 30 ways that money could show up. 30 ways you could obtain it, you could find it, it could find you. And think of it as a creativity exercise. Don't stop until you have 30. I learned this from my friend Steph Tuss at David Nagel's organization. She has people do this, and it's a really valuable exercise. Again, even if you're not going to invest working with me, which I don't have any attachment to that, it's a really great way to stretch your sense of abundance and your sense of power over your abundance. So make a list of 30 ways that money could show up, figure out what the dollar amount is, add on a little extra, and then write down 30 ways it could show up, and keep pushing yourself until you get to 30, and then pick one and do it. And what I notice is that sometimes people are making a list of 30 and they realize, like, oh my God, I have that money that, Aunt Margaret left me that I never even thought about, but I think there's probably $10,000 or $12,000 in there. Like, I never touched that money. Oh, so you actually have it. Well, that's convenient. I actually just canceled a really big purchase I was going to make for the house. And I decided, you know what, this is not the year. We'll do it next year. So all of a sudden, this money that I had committed to the house, I kind of have back. It's like, oh, that's cool. So sometimes you figure out that you actually have it. Sometimes you figure out that you don't have it, but you can get it. Like, I don't know about you, but I get offers for 0% interest cards like every day. They really want to give me money. Maybe there's an SBA loan. Maybe there's a grant. Maybe there's some local organization that wants to sponsor you. Maybe you could pre-sell some things. Be like, you know what? I have a painting that I know I can sell for $10,000, but it's not done yet. Well, maybe you could pre-sell it, right? And sometimes people just get really creative. So it's really fun. It's really fun. I will also tell you that if you are in one of those relationships where your spouse or partner might be a little eye-rolly about you spending money on investing in yourself, which God bless them, sometimes they are, and sometimes with good reason. It's a very different conversation. There's the conversation you're probably used to having, which is coming and saying, hi, honey, I kind of want to do this training with Sam, or I kind of want to, host a dinner party for all of Southeast Asia, whatever it is. And it's going to cost this much, and I really want to do it. That's one conversation. Another conversation is to come and say, hi, darling, I have decided to work with Sam privately, do this, do that, hire an assistant. It's going to cost this amount. Here are 30 ways that I've thought of to cover that expense. And here's one thing I've already done. Maybe you could help me think of some more ways. That's a very different conversation, right? I will also tell you, just having had about a zillion of these conversations where people are like, well, I have to talk to my partner. And I'm always like, of course, absolutely. Lots of partnerships have agreements where they're like, okay, we're not going to spend over XYZ without talking to each other, which I am all in favor of, if that works for you. And when people say, well, I have to check, and I say, okay, sure, of course. And then I say, well, just out of curiosity, what do you think your partner's going to say? And 99.9% of the time, the person says, oh, they'll say they just want me to do what makes me happy. They'll say it's fine. They'll probably roll their eyes a little bit, but they'll say it's fine. And I'm like, right, so then it's fine. So let's just move forward. Let's not use their perceived judgment as an excuse to stay where you are. Let's not use the perceived judgment of other people as an excuse to stay where you are. Because most people just want what's best for you. They mostly want what you want for yourself. And most people aren't even noticing you. They don't know what you're doing, and they don't particularly care. You can just do what you want, and everybody else can kind of just deal with it. It's pretty great. In the same way that you're not paying a ton of attention to what other people are doing either, right? Good. Wow, that half hour went fast. There's a lot in here, right? There's a lot in here about this idea of abundance and stuckness. So I invite you to do some 90-second process around it, like spend 90 seconds doing some doodles around how it feels when you believe there's not enough, when you hold yourself back because you think, no, I can't do that. I can't spend that. I'm not worth that. I don't have that. That's not possible for me. Like, how does that feel? What does that look like when you put it on paper? What's the drawing of that? What's the doodle of that? And then what is the drawing or doodle of expansion, of opportunity, of abundance, of endless abundance? And can you make a picture in your mind about how much the world is like, here, have all the things, you can have all the things. And you're like, no, just a tiny little grape for me. Nothing, I don't want. I think the earth would like you to enjoy her more. So that's my invitation to you. Let's set your timer for 90 seconds, draw out what not enough looks like, and draw out what infinite abundance looks like. And then make a new choice for yourself today. Make a new decision. Either apply to work with me here, just for the exercise of it. There's a place where you can say like, no, Sam, I'm just dreaming. I don't really want to do it. But maybe there's something else. Maybe you could go to the store and buy some seafood salad. Have a lobster. Leslie, I love being with you too. I'm so glad you're here. Thank you all so much for showing up for yourself, for your dreams, for your art, for the world. We love all the love you bring to the world. It's so special. I'm so proud to know you. I'm so happy to know you. I feel really grateful for my life today. And thank you to those of you who wish me happy birthday. I was very appreciative. I'm not much of a birthday celebrator, but it's really nice to feel acknowledged. So let's do one more breath, shall we? Veronica, thank you so much for being here. Sending you big love. And Lucy, as always, the team here at therealsambennett.com, crack team. And slightly cracked, maybe. Well, Okay. Let's inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for doing this with me. So fun. See you next week. And just so she's going to make her list of 30. Excellent. Julie says, me too. Yay. All right. Bye, Beth.